I'm going for a week. I'm gone for a week, so no video for a week after this one. Either way, guys, like, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. Kansas City Chiefs 2022 roster grades. Let's get right into it. And what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fun NFL. Today we got the Chiefs roster grades. Of course, Jimmy Garoppolo will be coming back from that throwing shoulder injury. So the surgery off that. Of course, Ark Manning's now going to Texas. It's next year, actually. Russell Wilson is, I guess, building chemistry with the receivers, which is really good. But now for another AFC West team, we got the Chiefs. Let's get right into it. Like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. I mean, I sound like a broken record at this point. The quarterback for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, he's decent. Like, don't need to say anything else. Chad Henne's, decent backup. Like, in realistic, he's actually backup. All the other guys, whatever. It's Patrick Mahomes. I don't really need to see him saying anything else. In my opinion, second best quarterback in the NFL, A+. Don't need to say anything else. Overall points, 3rd out of 30. Second best quarterback, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is better, but other than that, yeah, we're good. Now tips for the running backs. Okay, for the Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is their starting back. Overall, he's been a disappointment. I wouldn't say a bust, but if I'd have to give if I had to pick a grade, I'd give it like a C-, D+. It hasn't been a good pick. It's not a bust pick by any means, but yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire just hasn't, just to be honest, in all realism, has not produced yet. That's just the truth about it, and when you don't produce, it's kind of hard to be able to believe in you as a running back. Sadly, but that's just how it is in the NFL. Like, literally. And then when we look at it, though, and then we got Ronald Jones backing him. Of course, Ronald Jones with the Bucs last year didn't get that many carries, to be honest. He only got 100, basically. He did produce pretty well, though. 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4.2 per carry. He had what is it called? 186 yards after contact, not bad. He's a little bit of bowling ball. He didn't really produce in the receiving game, though. A couple of screens, but 10 catches, nothing really at all. So we look at him. He's not a bad backup. Of course, he used to be a starter. Was one of the low-end starters in the NFL. But overall, he's not the worst in the NFL. And then we look at Jerick McKinnon, who was, of course, their starter toward the end of the season. He had only a 12 carries, 62 yards. He did play in 13 games. When he started getting starts, though, he was pretty efficient, 5.2 yards per carry. Of course, he got hurt. But yeah, then we look at it as well. He just didn't get that many carries. He was special teams to start off the year. He finally got with injuries and stuff. But he's very explosive back. He arguably can start. Then you got Derek Gore as well. I really like Derek Gore. Good power back. He is very, very good at getting that third down. Like, he's money on third down. Of course, he had that 51-yard touchdown, showing that explosiveness. He can do something in the receiving game as well. So that's really good. That's your running back core for the Chiefs. Okay, now for the running back core, I'll give them a C+. I think that's fair. Like, they have good depth. There's not, if I was going to, their starting running back is one of the lower end in terms of, it's like 25 probably. They have one of the worst starting running backs in the league, in my opinion. Not that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is bad, but they have really good depth, which is saying something, so they get a C+. They don't have a really good number one, though. Their committee isn't perfect. That's why I give them a C+. And overall, the Chiefs were never really known for their backfield since Kareem Hunt's been there. So, for that reason, they get a C+. Like, Patrick Mahomes is the offense. The running game comes second. Yeah, they do usually have a good running game, but that's because it's more of a committee. They don't have a number one back. Yeah, could it be a B? Maybe, but I don't think their running back core is going to be amazing. It's going to be decent. I don't have any more opinion on it, but I think it's decent. So that's 3, 9, 9 plus 12 out of 20. Pretty fair. Now let's get the wide receivers. Of course, this is a pretty circus. I'll put in a circus receiving core. I'll put it this way. Josh Gordon, yes, I do think he could still come in the NFL and put up 1,000 receiving yards. But he's kind of a mess. Maybe they can straighten him out, and maybe he can actually get out there and make some catches. He actually did make some catches this year. But when we talk about Juju Smith-Schuster, he's their number one. He only had 15 catches. They only played 5 games for 129 yards. He didn't have a touchdown. He didn't drop a ball, though, on 28 targets, which isn't bad. He really just lost his explosiveness. It's been like every single year since 2018, which was his best year. He's kind of had a little bit of a drop-off. Well, like I said, Josh Gordon didn't really get anything going. Like, he had 14 targets on 5 catches, 32 yards. He did play in 12 games, though, as a special teamer, so that is good for Josh Gordon. But they're going to have him go. Of course, the biggest guy, Tyreek Hill's gone. That stinks. Another guy, they're probably their second receiver, Byron Pringle's gone. But overall, Nico Harmon's going to have to emerge as a deep threat. Of course, MVS is as well, but he's got to be that consistent money guy deep because they need that guy. That is good, though, because, yes, Tyreek Hill's gone, but we already know who they have tight end. Not only that, though, I think this is better because Mahomes knows I can't just check it deep anymore. I have to hit the check down over and over again. I think this is really good for this offense. It could turn into an RPO offense, which isn't exactly advantageous for anybody, but it's not the worst in the world. And I said, like, MVS, yeah, he only played 11 games, but he didn't have really much production, but he did have a 75-yard touchdown. We know he's a deep threat. He has not lost any of that speed. So that is good for that reason, and I do think he's good. And then we look at Sky Moore. Sky Moore has the potential to be a top 10 receiver. No joke, he does. Sky Moore, I love Sky Moore. Where did he play? I forgot. Oh, yeah, Western Michigan. My bad. This dude is fast. Like, not the fastest dude in the draft. I'd say top 5. This dude's got speed. Darius Fallon is a special teamer. Cornell Powers and Justin Watson. All the other guys are. Corey Coleman's a bust. But they got Justin Ross. Justin Ross, he's had a really rough go in terms of everything. I'll just put it that way. But Justin Ross, same thing. So much potential. He basically couldn't play, and he went undrafted because there's people don't have I don't know how to put this, but he had a very bad injury. It wasn't just an injury; it was like a disease actually, and that's the reason he wasn't drafted. Like they picked him up undrafted. Maybe in a couple of years he could be really good. I do think he has that potential. Of course, he was supposed to be a first-round pick after that national championship game. So, overall, I think Justin Ross coming out of Clemson is really good. Sorry it took me so long to talk about these receivers, but it's a lot of newcomers and it's a lot of potential. You know what? I'll give him a B. No joke. I will give this receiving core a B. It's above average because all those guys, yeah, MVS is not great. He really is not. But they have a really good balanced receiving core. And they have 2 rookies that came in that have a lot of potential, which is huge. Yeah, I'm kind of projecting a little bit here, but they have 2 guys that we know for a fact are going to produce, and then we have another guy, Sky Moore, who we actually know for sure will produce too. So yeah, you have MVS, he's just like a one-trick pony, but you need that on your team, because, trust me, the best teams in the NFL have that with those one-trick ponies. It's just how it works. So, we have a B, that would be, 6 times 20, okay, B, that's 12 plus 3.367, 15.67 out of 20. I think that's fair. They have good receiving core. I really do think so. Could it be a 15? It's only 33%. It's only 3,300ths, but I'm still thinking they have a B receiving core. Now let's get to tight end. Okay, for the Chiefs at tight end, Travis Kelce is the best tight end, receiving tight end in the NFL. I think he's number 2, number 1. You could argue it, whatever. Never gonna have an argument for him and George Kittle. You got Blake Bell. When he actually had to play last year in his one start, he actually really good. He looked really good. But yeah, Travis Kelce's great. I don't need to say anything else about it. Now let's get to the grading because it's kind of obvious. Kind of like Patrick Mahomes. A+, I don't need to say anything else. That's, what was it? What's the max? 2 times 10, 10, 15 out of 15. He's their best receiver, obviously. Travis Kelce, honestly, if I had to put a bet on him, 1,250 yards at the minimum. I do think he's going to go for that much. He will be their primary guy. This year he will be. I really do think that this Chiefs team is so much more, yeah, Tyreek Hill was a big loss, obviously, but they're a lot more balanced now, and they're not going to be as explosive. They might not be as explosive, but they're for sure, and I guarantee it, they're going to be a much more efficient and balanced offense this year. Now for the Chiefs' offensive line. Orlando Brown's a good tackle. He had an above 75.4 PFF grade. He only gave up 4 sacks. He was a Pro Bowler, 3 straight years of Pro Bowl. Jerron Christian Jr. is not the greatest, but he isn't the worst backup in the world. Joe Tooney, very solid, 8.5 PFF grade. He was on the 2016 All-Rookie team, very underrated guy. He played almost every snap. He only gave 1 sack. He did have 8 penalties, though. Nick Allegretti's not great as a backup, but he actually had a starting grade, to be honest with you, so it could have been worse there, but yeah. They have some good depth throughout, I'll be honest with you, on this offensive line. Then you got Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey's the best, he's the most fun guy to think about on the offensive line, because he was a rookie last year, best center, He was an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, and he was on the rookie team, but he didn't make the Pro Bowl. It's kind of stupid like that. But 91.4 PFF grade. He only gave up 1 sack. He played the whole season, almost all season, like 1 snap. But either way, he's great. I don't need to say anything else about him. Austin Reeder, not the greatest backup center, but he's reliable when he needs to be out there. Trey Smith, same thing. He's decent. Darian Kennard, we don't know really anything about. He's a rookie out of, where did he go? Out of Kentucky. Oh, yeah, he was Kentucky's best offensive lineman, if you didn't know. So that's big there. And then, of course, you have Andrew Wiley at tackle. He wasn't great. He's probably the worst starter on this offensive line. But overall, it's a pretty good offensive line. I don't really need to say anything else. There is a game changer, and I do think the continuity is huge there because all those guys have played. And even Lucas Niang backing them up is pretty good. So I do like this Chiefs offensive line. You can ask me about this offensive line. I give them a B+. Here's why. Because they have 3 guys that are Pro Bowl starter caliber. It's not, you know what? I can't give them an A-. Because here's why. There are points in the season where you need them to protect Patrick Mahomes. They don't do it. There's points in the season where they need them to make a huge block in the red zone. They don't do it. I don't think the clutch is there yet, like in terms of big blocks. And I don't think their I think their depth is actually really good. Honestly, here's why I give them a B+, because I don't think Orlando Brown is the greatest tackle in the world. If I was going to be a little bit biased there, I don't think he's the greatest tackle in the world. That's the only reason. But other than that, yeah, they have a really good offensive line. You know, yeah, I'll give them an A-, because it's honestly probably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. But I can't give them an 8. I can't boost them up just yet because it's only been early 1 season of them playing so well, and they weren't good to start the season either. Keeping that all in mind, I'll give them an A-. This is just the fact. I'm being very, you can call me a hater for this, too. I do think they have a very good offensive line, and there's no lying about it. They do have a really good offensive line. I just think they need, one more. I just need to see it a little bit more, and then I'm good with that. Okay, now let's get the offensive average, and we'll go to the defense. So, this offense, I'm giving them an A. So, actually, they range out to an A-. But I can obviously overrule that with the saying the fact that they have one of the greatest coaches in the NFL. And yeah, talent-wise, maybe not. But they do have the best tight end, arguably the best tight end in the NFL, and arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. And the fact that Travis Kelce plays the tight end position, so impactful like a receiver, he puts up receiver numbers. He is their number 1 receiver now. If they had Hill, they could be an A. They would be an A+ probably. But I have to give them an A+ just for the fact that they will be a top 5 offense in the NFL year in and year out, and they will be better this year than they were last year. That's just my opinion on it. And yeah, the range, they're long range for A-. But we know how good they are, and the fact that we know that, and the fact that there's consistency there, that's why they get the A and not the A-, in my opinion. They've got a really good offense. Now let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Okay, for the Chiefs at linebacker, Nick Bolton is good. He's really good. He was a rookie last year as well. He was probably their best defensive player if I was going to give someone to that. And then you got Darius Harris as well. He's a good special teamer. Good UDFA, but he still has a lot of work to do. Jermaine Carter Jr., whatever. I mean, he's okay, but he's not the best. Leo Chanel out of, where the heck did he go? I keep forgetting where he went. Oh, yeah, he went to Wisconsin. He's really good. Very good tackler. He's really good at the mental side of the game. Not the best physically, but he's definitely up there, too. Willie Gay, I really do like Willie Gay. Of course, he's 3rd year coming in. He did miss some of the season, but when he was out there, he's been really good. Not the greatest, but he's been really good. Shalik Calhoun, my bad. He's been just somewhat of a backup in the NFL, and he hasn't been bad by any means, but he's I'll put it like that. Not the most athletic as well. So, I have to give him a grade. I'll give him a B-. Nick Bolton's really good. I really like Nick Bolton. Then you got Willie Gay. Willie Gay has been solid his whole career. And, of course, Jermaine Carter Jr. is okay, too. But I do think this is a decent linebacking core. They have good depth, and that's really what you need with a linebacking core. It's not the greatest. I'll give them that. They don't exactly – they're not – this is honestly – if there's one linebacking core the Chiefs have had over the past 5 years that's going to stop the run, it's going to be this one because they've never – since Patrick Mahomes has got to the Chiefs – their defense has never been good at stopping the run. That's just how it's been. But it could get a lot better here. So that would be a B-. That's 12 plus 3.33 is 15.33 out of, what the heck is it? 20. So yeah, that's the linebackers. Now let's get to the defensive line. Okay, now when we talk about this defensive line, of course they have pretty good edge rushers. I'm not saying they're the greatest though. Chris Jones, not fair to like, it was hard to watch film on him because he was not playing the right position. He's obviously the inside guy. Very good there. Then you got Derek Nottie. Derek Nottie's just good. Like, that's all I have to say about him. George Kalafis, I like George Kalafis. Of course, I had him, I of course ranked him out of Purdue. He's actually first-round pick. I do think he's worth that first-round pick, for sure. The one thing you have to worry about with him, though, is he does not have great finesse moves. He has really good power moves, and he does have a really good second hand, which is huge. But he needs to work on his finesse moves. Other than that, I think he's good. Joshua Kane, though, and Mike Dana. I don't really know much about Joshua Kane, though. I really don't. I'll be honest with you. I've watched him play a little bit. He didn't really play at all, so we can't really grade him. But he wasn't that good. He's obviously a backup. And I remember watching Mike Dana, though. He didn't really play at all, in my opinion. Like, I just don't remember watching Mike Dana a lot. But I guess he played somewhat. Like, he had 3 sacks. So, I know he can get after the quarterback for sure. But other than that, Kalen Saunders is okay. Taylor Stallworth, of course, 3rd season. He's been decent. I gotta admit, he has not been that bad. And he can get after the quarterback as well, if you didn't know. Tershawn Wharton. I butchered this guy's name last time I talked about him. But not much to say about him. Like, some of these guys, like, they're, oh, whatever. That's what I'll put him. Frank Clark, he's so bad. Like, I don't want to talk about Frank Clark. So, Chris Jones is really good, and I do like George Kalafis, so I'll give him a B. But other than that, they have decent depth. It's like, whatever. It's like C minus, D plus. It's not bad, but it's just like, ugh, in terms of their depth. But, they do have 2 really good guys. I do like Derek Nottie a lot. He's been good his whole career. Frank Clark's atrocious. The only reason he's still on the team, kind of like the same thing you could kind of say with Eddie Jackson, except he's not nearly as bad, is the fact that Frank Clark's getting paid like $1 kajillion. So when you have a guy that's getting $1 kajillion, you can't really cut him. That's just how it works in the NFL. But that's 2 plus, that's 4, 8, 8, 3.33, 3.67, 7 point, no. That's not, 8, 3.67 is 11.67 out of 15. And I mean, it is a good defensive line, I'll be honest with you. Like, overall, it's a good defensive line. But like I said, they have one really bad guy, which is kind of a problem. Okay, let's get right back into it. For the passers, though, George Kalafis, I already talked about him. He'll get to the quarterback. That's about it. Frank Clark, he's bad. I don't want to talk about Frank Clark. He's just bad. Derek Nottie, Chris Jones. Derek Nottie's not the type of guy that's going to get the quarterback every time, but Chris Jones will. He's a game changer. Mike Dana, we already know will, so that's good. But they don't have that much of an answer, and I don't think their edge rushers are anything special. Like I said, George Kalafis is decent. Mike Dana can get off the quarterback. Other than that, they don't have much. Joshua Kane, though, he's kind of a facilitator off the edge, too. Stays on the edge. Taylor Stallworth, I do like. Tristan Wallen is bleh. But overall, their backup, in terms of, like, pass rush is nothing special. I'll give it a B minus. Again, I don't think they have these guys that are anything special. Their depth isn't anything special either. It's not whatever. A lot of man, but they do have Chris Jones. You gotta remember that. He's probably a top 10 defensive tackle in the NFL. That's because he can get after the quarterback. There's a lot of these defensive linemen who can stop the run, but they cannot get after the quarterback. That's why they're not there. But you do have a rookie there, and I don't know why Frank Clark's still on this team. I'm just being honest with you, he should just get benched. But you can't do that kind of like thing, same with Zeke, because you're losing a lot of money doing that. So that's 16 plus 3.33, 19.33 out of 25, which is fair. They have a good pass rush, like overall. It's a little bit above average, but it's nothing special. Now let's get the cornerbacks. Okay, you know how I say Kadir Elam is like my least favorite player in the who got drafted prospect? Well, Trent McDuffie is the complete opposite. He plays very, very, very fundamentally. He does not make many mistakes in terms of mental errors, which are huge in terms of making tackles. He does that well. He's his own corner, though. He's not going to go up and press some guy and body him up. That's just the truth about him, but he's really good. L'Jarius Sneed, yes, he has not been the best in his career, but I do think L'Jarius Sneed is really good. Rashawn Fenton, one of the upper slot corners in the NFL. I don't even know why Lonnie Johnson Jr. is back that far. I do think he's pretty good. And Le'Andre Baker, yes, he's a bust, but he is talented, and you got to put him out there. He sometimes have to hide him because he is also kind of sloppy. He doesn't make the mental errors, though, which is kind of cool. But overall, I do like their cornerback room. It's not great, but whatever. Yeah, I'll give like a B-. It's a little bit above average again. They do have a lot of talent. Trent McDuffie does have the potential to be the next Tyrann Mathieu in the secondary. In terms of the leadership, he's not the same player, obviously, but he does have that leadership, which is huge. That's why I do think they have that, but as well as they have good depth. I don't think they have a super number one, though. L'Jarius Sneed at moments was really good, and in other moments he looked like he should have got benched. For that reason, I'll give him a B-. Overall, it's not bad. So that's 12 plus 15.33 out of 20, which is fair. Now let's get to safeties. A little different than it used to be. Okay, now for these safeties. Justin Reed's a good safety. He's a strong safety, obviously, from Houston. He made some big plays. Overall, he's a decent safety. Nothing else to say. He's supposed to replace Tyrann Mathieu. I'll tell you, he won't be able to do that. But he is a good player. It was probably Houston's best defensive player, to be honest. Juan Thornhill, he gets hurt a lot, but overall, I do think he's a good player when he's on the field, which isn't like it's not like he's never on the field, but he's gotten hurt before, which is kind of a concern. But overall, he plays the deep safety pretty well, and for sure he doesn't get beat as much as Daniel Sorensen did, which was huge, because you didn't know Daniel Sorensen was their dime player, and more than that, he was probably like their most important in terms of like, what is it called, coverage skill, like what he needed to do in terms of versatility, which he didn't have, which Juan Thornhill probably will go into this year. Sorry, the Wi-Fi is just absolutely brutal here. But Brian Cook, I like Brian Cook, nothing much there. Deon Bush, he played a lot of special teams, and when he was on the field, though, it wasn't too bad at all. But yeah, that's the safeties for the Chiefs. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Brian Cook, second-round pick out of Cincinnati, he also played for a lot of free safety, so my bad. Box safety, which is huge. Probably the second best box safety out of this class, which is huge. Speed isn't great, but other than that, he's pretty good. So safety-wise, I'll give him a C+. I'll give him a B- again. It's better than average because those guys are definitely starters, but they're not the upper class at all, and the depth is not good either. Like, I think Brian Cook is good, but other than that, you need at least a fourth safety to be, like, really safe. You're not, because we don't know much about Deon Bush really at all. And Brian Cook, I watched, so he's good as well. So that's another 15.33 out of 20. A little bit above average for this defense. Now let's get to the average. Okay, the average comes out to a B- and a 77 out of 100, which I think is fair. It's just a little bit below the range of the 78 to 80 range of the B-, but I'll bump it up just a little bit for him. They do overall have a really good defense. In terms of like the fact that they won't give up a ton of yards, I don't think it's that good though. It's whatever. That's all. That's their defense. It's kind of like it's always been. Now let's get to special teams. Okay, now for the special teams. Harrison Butker, one of the best kickers in the NFL. Tommy Townsend, he actually has really improved as a punter. He was so bad in the Super Bowl, but other than that, I do think Tommy Townsend, he's a decent punter, honestly. Now, his leg isn't. He's got a huge leg, but he's okay. McCole Hardman, good returner. Like, nothing more to say. He's muffed some punts, but other than that, he's fine. James Winchester, actually one of the best long snappers in the NFL. So overall, good special teams unit. Okay, special teams. I'll give it a B. The actual special teams unit, I'll actually give it a B+, because they do make plays during the season. Like, I think they were rated like the 15th. Yeah, they were in the upper class in terms of special teams ranking, and overall, their like primary special teams guys are good too. So that's 4 plus 4 is 8 out of 10, which is fair. Now let's get the depth of the overall team. Okay, so when I'm talking about the depth, I do think their quarterback overall is like. Quarterback, get out of the way. Running back, good. Wide receiver, it's about average. Tight end, good. Offensive line really good. So that's about like a B in terms of depth. Defensively, meh. Decent, good, meh. So overall, I'll give their depth like a B minus, because in some positions, like I'll start off with quarterback, like you can't grade it. Good, okay. So like B plus, C plus, B plus, A, C plus. I'll give a B minus. C, D, like B. I'll give like a C minus. B plus, D, and overall it turned out to like a B minus. So they do like overall it's an above average depth again. It's okay, but it's not. I don't think their depth is anything really that special, but it's still decent. So we'll give them that. That comes out to a B minus. B minus. What is it called? What did it come out here? Where's pass rush? 19.3 out of 25. So good. Now let's get to the final overall grade. So overall, the roster comes out to an A minus, which I think is fair because, like, their defense is okay. Like I said, it's a little bit above average. Their depth is a little bit above average. Their offense is really, really good. So that comes out to like an A minus, which it's pretty fair in my opinion. Like, you got a decent special teams. There's not really a hole on this roster, to be honest with you, as well. There are only a couple of superstars. It's a little bit watered down as it was last year, but they actually have less holes than they were. Maybe not as many superstars, but there isn't a position on this roster like their lowest grade is a C plus for a reason. It's not a bad roster at all. Four A ranges is good. Most of it's B, which is huge. I do think this team the Chiefs have a really good roster this year. See what they can do. But for sure, good roster, Chiefs. See you guys in the next video, probably in like a week.
Families impacted by congenital heart disease. Cam Newton may go. He's ahead of the field, and they run him.